This is Think Tech Hawaii. Community matters here.
Guys, and we are back with episode 14, The Prince of Investing. And we still haven't gotten canceled. So thank you guys for tuning in. The response has been great around the globe. The response has been great around the world. And as always, guys, I don't have a lot of time, and I definitely know you guys don't have a lot of time. So we're going to jump straight into it. As you can see in the description box, as you can see in the title, it's Halloween, and we brought in the wolf. All the way from LA, Los Angeles, California, we have the real Wolf of Wall Street, Mr. Jordan Belfort, here live with us, all the way from LA. I am honored to have him on. How you doing, Mr. Belfort?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Now, for people out there who don't know who Jordan Belfort is, can you please tell everybody who you are?
Well, I mean, I think unless you're living in North Korea or Iran, you probably have seen the movie The Wolf of Wall Street. So that was based on my life story. Leo, the character Leo played, was Jordan Belfort in the movie, and it's off of two books that I wrote about 10 years ago. And you know, they were turned into a motion picture. So that's who The Wolf of Wall Street is.
Awesome. So we are glad to have you here live in the studio and to talk about, you've been, your life after being the wolf and doing these things like that and writing the books and stuff like that. Now, one of the questions I got to ask you, right? Everybody saw the Wolf of Wall Street played by Leonardo DiCaprio, all of the great stuff like that. How accurate is the Wolf of Wall Street of how it really was back then?
On some level, it was very accurate. Other levels, it was not as accurate. I'll give you examples. I think that in terms of the gross inaccuracies would be that there's a scene in towards the 2/3 into the movie where I get up and give a meeting and I say, guys, it's time for me to leave, but Stratton will live on. And then halfway through that meeting, I change my mind and I say, fuck it, I'm staying, right? And I don't leave. That's not true. I actually left. I gave that meeting and left. And I went on to run another company I owned called Steve Madden Shoes. So that was my other business. So I ran that for a few years. So that, sort of once that happened, there's a lot of contextual issues that are thrown off. But that being said, in terms of more specific things like scenes in the movie that where it kind of painted the wrong picture. Well, I think a good example would be that, and I understand why they did this, was that they made it seem like, that the object was almost to sell shitty companies to people. And that was just never true. It just wasn't like that. I mean, you make a lot more, you're in investing, you make a lot more selling good companies than bad companies. Now, the most money I ever made in my entire career on Wall Street was when I took Steve Madden public because it was a good company, right? So no one actively tries to sell dog shit companies. It's a losing proposition. Mm-hmm. The problem is that when you're dealing in those small venture capital deals that I was, a lot of companies that you think are good end up going bad or whatever. There's problems. So it's not like there's an actual, hey, let's sell them dog shit. No one would ever do that because it's a foolish proposition. So that sort of gave a feel to the movie that we're actually out there trying to just scam people out of their money. It wasn't true. It just wasn't like that. Ultimately, it came to that, but not because of the companies. It became because of stock manipulation and sort of stacking the deck against your clients, which is something I think that we saw happen all over Wall Street in 2005 and 6. So I'm not trying to minimize what I did wrong, but it certainly wasn't something that was like planned from the beginning like that.
Got it. That makes sense. Now, like you made a good point. You're saying, hey, yes, some things may have gotten out of control, but that was not my true intention to, just manipulate the market and stuff like that, right? Now, one question: how did you get the name the Wolf? Because when you hear the name Wolf on Wall Street, you're thinking that, hey, this guy, just going down Wall Street, tearing up, Wall Street apart, and the character that Leonardo played in you, and it's like, wow, this guy is just, out there. How did you get the name The Wolf?
Well,
Where did
I
that
was
come
kind
from?
of out there. I mean, like, with the stuff that is true is the drug addiction, the women, the craziness. I mean, that was all true. The yachts and planes and the crazy lifestyle, right?
Hmm.
So, and the thousands of sales meetings, the meetings I gave and the rah, rah, rah and training the brokers, that stuff was true. And that's what really intrigues people in the movie, that whole camaraderie and stuff. It makes the movie amazing, right? And of course, the personal conflicts with my wife and this, right? That really makes it exciting. The actual name itself, believe it or not, comes from Gilligan's Hawaii-based TV sitcom Gilligan's Island. So Thurston Howell III, his nickname was the Wolf of Wall Street, believe it or not,
Oh,
and so it was like a play on that.
got it, got it. Okay. Now, we spoke about how accurate the movie was. How would you, what is something in the movie that you probably think that was probably left out that they forgot all about Jordan Belfort?
Well, that's a good question. I think that what was left out of the movie simply because it wasn't any one particular scene, but it was this idea that you see a little blip of it in the beginning where I sit down with Mark Hanna on my first day of work. I'm up at that restaurant and he's explaining to me how Wall Street works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very funny scene. And I, being a babe in the woods, say, well, can't we make our clients money too, right? Sort of, idealistic young kid. And he goes, no, that's not what we do here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, from there, the next scene, I'm in a strip club snorting coke and going wild, right? Like it happened. That's not what happened. Okay, it took a good couple of years to get from where I started to where I was like, fuck everybody. You know what I'm saying? Very slow de-evolution of the human spirit, basically. So that I think is what was left out, is that slow progression
Mm.
from someone who was brought up very ethical and my parents were great people. I never broke a law. I mean, other than a stupid thing, right? I never was out there breaking laws my whole life. And then, all of a sudden I went to Wall Street and I sort of went on this path. So, how did that happen? What was that process by that step-by-step incremental process? The problem is that you only have a couple hours in a movie, right? So, if it was a TV series for a couple of years, you could have seen that happen, but I understand why they did what they did.
Okay. So you said it was like a little slow progression into getting into the drugs and getting into
The women, the drugs,
the
the
women.
criminal behavior where I'm like manipulating stocks and thinking it's okay, like that sort of stuff. Like, how did that happen from someone who was raised well, never broke a law, right? It's a different story. It's not as an exciting a story, but it's a very, I think it's an intriguing one though.
Now, with that lifestyle, did you enjoy it?
Listen, I always say the things that make sense at 25 don't make nearly as much sense at 55. So at 25 years old, yeah, I mean, it was fun. You're going out, you're partying like a rock star, living out every adolescent fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
But I look at my life today, and I have to tell you, it's 1,000 times better not being on drugs, having one woman I love, and sort of waking up feeling good every day, as opposed to waking up saying, "Oh, like trying to cover from the night before." So I had fun for sure. If I could change things, I would change a few things for sure. But you look back and you learn from your mistakes.
And I had to ask that question because, you became the epitome of Wall Street. Like, people thought about Wall Street. This was everybody's dream. It was like, man, look at the yachts, look at the women, look at
Right.
the drugs. So it was just like, man, that is Wall Street. So that's why I had to ask you, like, hey, did you know? Yeah, looking back, I was like, man, the movies made it look great. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. I wasn't on Wall
Listen,
Street.
again, it's fun to watch someone else, but for it to be your own life is not all it's cracked up to be. So, but listen, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with going out and partying and sleeping with a lot of women or men, whatever turns you on if you're a man or a woman. But again, you have to grow up at a certain point. So I'm a young guy. I'm in my 20s, and I'm living out my adolescent fantasies. But at a certain point, you have to grow up.
All right. Now, the question I have to ask you now, right? I know that you spent all these years in investing, built this amazing firm, hundreds of millions of dollars, the Wall Street, all of the great stuff like that, writing the 2 books, having the ups and downs that you had. Is Mr. Belfort still investing today?
I I invest, but I mostly invest in private companies that I want to take public. I'm not really out there investing in public companies much.
Okay, so you don't
More
really get
venture
in.
capital.
So you don't really do stocks anymore. You do like more like venture capitalists, like getting new startups and stuff like that.
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
Now, how do you find these new startups? Do you
They come to me typically,
Oh, they come to you. So people find you and say, "Hey, I got this idea. I got this company. I got whatever the case may be," and you just look at it and say, "Hey, you know what? I think this is worth crap, or I think this is good. Something that I get behind."
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Now, are you still open for clients? Because it may be somebody that's listening, like, "Man, I would like to have."
I'm always open to hearing a good idea, but again, there's a process by which someone has to get to me. A lot of times they pay me. They'll pay as consultants. They'll hire me as a consultant. That's how I'll get started. And I'll be helping them. And they'll let's say they get so much value in what I'm doing, they'll offer me a piece of the company, and then they want me to get me more involved and so forth. So a lot of it happens that way.
Okay. So you actually do consulting for like new startups that are maybe looking for funding.
Yeah, well, I do. I do start for mostly not for startups as much as for companies that are already in business that have some traction,
Got it.
and they want to now take their idea and monetize it, roll it out. I'm very good at showing people how to do that.
Okay. All right. So now I got to ask you about the new things that's on the market nowadays. I know you say hey, I'm only private and stuff like that. What do you think about the rush we have nowadays into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? Because I saw something on Market Watch where you were saying if I'm getting this correctly, or if that article was correct, well, you thought it was like one of the biggest scams ever. What do you think about the new cryptocurrency, Bitcoins, Litecoin, Ethereum, all the other great stuff?
I think that it's not so much that Bitcoin is a scam. It's not that. It's what's happening around Bitcoin, and also the speculative fever, and the rapid rise that's based on nothing more than pure speculation. So while I believe that cryptocurrencies do ultimately could have a role in the global economy. The problem right now is it's just that there's all these fraudulent operators and opportunists right now who are preying upon the hopes and dreams of unsophisticated people, selling their new cryptocurrency as the next Bitcoin and so forth. And this is just like going to end badly because it always does. It's just a bubble of really unsophisticated people running into a market because it's been going up, and typically that's the time when things will pop out and eventually crash when everyone starts to jump in. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. I mean, it happens again and again and again. It's history repeating itself. So, I would look at Bitcoin right now as probably being the least risky of all these things. Like, for instance, today I just was on Facebook and I saw an ad. It's a paid ad. It says, "Take advantage of the next Bitcoin. This one could be what Bitcoin was in 2011." That's a fucking scam. Okay, that's just like they're gonna. It's probably some self-invented piece of shit that's just like a little bit of a whatever it is, and then they create a cryptocurrency. You can do it and you can buy a program and create one now, right? Of course, you probably $10,000 to do one, and they hold a lot of themselves. They'll create some interest. They'll bump up the price. And they'll dump it. It's pretty simple,
Okay, got it. I get what you're saying. So you're pretty much saying it could be a classic pump and dump type situation that could be going on with the whole Bitcoin currency.
100%, yeah.
Got it. So people out there who understand what Mr. Belfort is saying, he's saying that, hey, someone gets the software, creates their own little Bitcoin, run out there and pay ads, run out there and throw ads out there and say, hey, this could be the next big thing. You can get it now for a penny.
Right.
Everybody jumps in. They create interest. They put a big marketing plan behind it. Once everybody buys it, then they sell off theirs. Classic pump and dump.
It's just classic.
Got it. Now, going into, you've been an investor, you've been around, seeing the good side and the bad side of investing around the world, right? You've been around good investors, bad investors, having your own situations. What advice would you give someone that is listening to this that wants to get started in investing?
Well, number one, educate yourself. Right now, there's simply no excuse not to go out there and become totally financially educated in what you want to buy. All the information is out there. You get it?
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't do that, shame on you. That's the number one thing. Number two, find someone who's a sophisticated investor you trust and ask them for guidance. Check your ideas with them. Just don't go on half-cocked on your own.
Got it. So what we're going to do, guys, we're going to take a break right here. We're going to take a 1-minute break, and we're going to get more into the wolf, what he's doing today, what he has out now, and how, more with the wolf. So you guys stay tuned, and we'll be right back with more on the Think Tech of Hawaii.
This is Think Tech Hawaii, raising public awareness.
We have this crazy thing going on today. I was just walking by, and all these DJs and producers are set up all around the city.
I just walked by and I said, "What's happening, guys?" And they told me they were making music.
Is the way you walk, is the way you talk.
There were a lot of people that claimed they had no musical talent and then sat down and kind of played some really nice sounds.
I like this music.
Feel amped about today, inspired, musically, about life.
They said I could play, so any chance to play at all. That's my life. I love music.
Yeah, I saw do it.
For you.
All right, guys, and we're back live. More with the Wolf of Wall Street, Mr. Jordan Belfort. He's here right here live. If you guys haven't seen him earlier, we've been talking about all of his endeavors, about him, what he thought about Bitcoin, what he thought about investing, what he thought about the movie, telling about himself, his personal life, all this other great stuff. But the thing about Mr. Belfort, I saw him on The Breakfast Club, and I was surprised. When I saw him on The Breakfast Club, he was talking about his new book called The Way of the Wolf. And I actually downloaded it, right? I went and got the audio, and I went and got the audio version, and I ordered a copy to sit back and read the book. I haven't finished it all the way completely, but one of the things that I found that was very masterful about him was, most people you think Wolf of Wall Street, you think the word Wall Street, you think maybe investing, but I figured out how good of a salesman Mr. Belfort really was. He has a system. He broke down sales to, I haven't read a lot of sales books, but he broke down sales to I would say, the biggest
mental level.
A mental level. It was just crazy. He was taking hey, you need to take this lip balm. You need to sniff it right when you make a deal. And the thing about it, the way he took conversations, I was like, he broke it down to an art, to where I never considered myself a salesman, but when I thought about it, I said, well, every day we're selling ourselves. If you're trying to get a job, or if you're trying to make a business proposal, if you're trying to get clients, even if you are in a corporate position where, hey, I don't do sales, you're selling yourself in a resume. So it had a lot of good information there about the straight line salesman, about going off into Pluto and getting back, and how he trained all these people. And even in the movie where he took these kids that could pretty much, do anything.
Couldn't close the door.
Yeah, couldn't close the door, and turned them into master salesmen. Now, what made you write this book, The Way of the Wolf?
Well, I think that, one thing that is portrayed well in the movie, but the movie's so over the top that it almost you forget about it. Is how I was able to essentially accomplish what I accomplished, meaning taking these kids who are average or below average, and had never thought, or let's say that they were raised to think that they were not capable of achieving greatness, and any greatness that they naturally had in them had been basically conditioned out of them since the day they were born, first by their parents, then by their friends, by their school teachers, by the media. I mean, they had been conditioned to be average, to basically survive, not to thrive. And when these kids showed up in my boardroom, they had all these limiting beliefs. And also, I would say 99.9% of them actually didn't possess any extraordinary skills that could make them great. In other words, there's two sides to this whole thing about, every human being is capable of achieving greatness. Now, I believe that's true. I know it's true. However, part of achieving greatness includes learning specialized skills, possessing specialized skills, learning them if you don't naturally have them. And what happens to most people in the world is that they're not born salespeople. I'm a born salesman. I am, and no doubt I was since I was old enough to talk. I was just had a natural gift, and I developed that and honed it over the years, right? But most people are not like that. They don't like to influence and persuade. They feel uncomfortable. They don't know how to do it. So what happens is because it's such an integral skill to success. I don't care what you do, what line of work you're in, business or personal. You could be a mom or a dad trying to influence your children to make their beds and do their homework. You could be a teacher trying to influence your students on the value of education. You could be a pastor trying to influence your congregation on a certain moral compass. You could be a politician trying to influence your constituency, a lawyer trying to influence the jury, an entrepreneur trying to influence someone to give you money, to invest in you. You could be an entrepreneur trying to recruit someone to join you, to buy into your vision for the future. You could be a person trying to get a job. You're trying to influence an owner to see the value in you. You could be an employee trying to get a raise. You get it? Like you want to have the value that you can give to a company recognized. Well, how do you go about explaining that to people? How do you make your ideas, your thoughts, your concepts, your dreams known to other people in a way that connects with them and moves them to take action and gets you what you want to? That's what ethical persuasion is all about. And if you don't possess that skill, what happens is your brain, my brain, the human brain is very smart. It knows it, and you will shy away from opportunity because you say, you know what? I don't really think I have what it takes. If you're not good at persuasion, if you're not competent at it, you don't have to be an expert, but at least good enough. And that's the goal of the book. The book is for everybody. It's not just for salespeople. If you're a salesman, yes, the book can turn you into a top producer. It's a very powerful system. It's worked with people all over the world, millions of people, literally millions of people. It changes people's lives. But if you're not a salesperson, it's simply a matter of getting yourself to a level of competency that sales, persuasion, or a fear of it will be removed and no longer hold you back from achieving what you want in life. Because it doesn't matter what you do, that skill is a linchpin skill to getting what you want. So what I did back in the day was I came up with a system for taking average people who were just okay or they were poor when it came to sales and make them into world-class salespeople. Almost like in a matter of days, a week, right? And once you do that, it changes the person fundamentally. They become more powerful because they're empowered, essentially. You empower them to take action. They feel good about it. They feel confident about it. And the results start pouring in. And also, it's a change in their own mindset because they say, you know what? Okay, maybe I didn't succeed in the past. Maybe I was average my whole life. But now I know something new. I'm a different person. So I was able to essentially rewrite their belief systems by giving them this very powerful system for persuasion. And once you learn this, it makes you so effective. It's incredible. That's the story.
I'm not going to lie. Like I said, I'm not paid by Mr. Belfort or anything like that. I'm just giving you 100%. Like you guys have trusted me so much in the past. When I was reading this book, it made me want to go sell something.
It works. It just works. Yeah, no doubt. It works.
And it reminds you of conversations you have in real life with salespeople and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do here.
Let me give you one example. So I wrote the book myself. I didn't have a ghostwriter. And I wrote the book in a way that I made it conversational. I wanted people to be able to connect with the book, laugh a little bit, and sort of understand, here's the goal. If you're an average salesperson, it'll make you great. If you're a great salesperson, you'll say, wow, now I know why I'm so great. I know what I got to do every single day. It actually shows you. It's so logical and intuitive that when you read it, you say to yourself, wow, it all makes sense, right? If you're not a salesperson, what it will do is it will give you the ability to essentially go out and just move through the world in a more empowered way. Bottom line, that's what it does. And it's very powerful.
So what we're going to do right here, since we got the wolf and it's Halloween, the first 5 people to comment on the YouTube link, you comment on the YouTube link, I will send you a copy of his book, no matter where you're at in the world. I know we got listeners in Japan and stuff like that. So we're going to do the first 5 people to comment on the YouTube link. You comment on the YouTube link or the Facebook link or wherever you see this. Once you comment, comment the wolf, something like that. Write the wolf. If you write the word the wolf, what I'm going to do is I'm going to email you, ask you for your mailing address. You have to give me your mailing address. Some of you guys are commenting that you're not giving me your mailing address to be able to mail you the product. I can't read your mind. So what you do is, if you do that, you would get the way of the wolf mailed to you wherever you're at in the world, courtesy of me. And thank you for stopping by and speaking about that. Now, the thing that I noticed that was great about it, when you look at the book and you look at the movie, that he was a great salesman. He knew how to teach other people sales. And then he spoke about his life of going overseas and teaching companies that with these big sales strips, and he writes out these big sales strips and things like that. It was very surprising about persuasion and influence. And it's not about manipulating people. It's about knowing how to get your point across to people and stuff like that. Is there anything else that you would like? Speaking of that, knowing a good salesman, right? How can someone spot when something is full of crap? Like, I need to stay away. I don't need to do this. How would you say someone?
There's really, I think there is 2 telltale signs. One of the things that I focus on in the book is that in order to close at the highest level, you need to tap into both logical persuasion and emotional persuasion. There's logic and emotion, very different things. People don't buy on logic. They buy on emotion and justify their decisions with logic. When someone's trying to influence you, sell you, if they're just making an emotional case, which is more about, painting a picture of you in the future, using the product and feeling good, getting the benefit, the future pacing, but they don't focus on the logical side, saying why ABC on a logical, why does this product make sense? What are the features, the benefits? What's the value proposition? If they don't give you that side of the equation, just try to impulse you on hype and bullshit, on emotion, that's one side. Number 2, if someone doesn't ask you questions about yourself and just tries to sell you without knowing anything about you. You can't sell someone something until you first ask them questions to find out what their needs are, their values, what their pain is, and what lack they have. So if someone just tries to ram shit down your throat, they talk, and don't listen, that's another telltale sign.
Got it. Well, Mr. Belfort, is there anything you want to leave with your listeners? People that hear this on a podcast, watch this on YouTube, the people that's watching this live now, is there anything you want to leave with them?
Listen, I think that one commonality among all people, salespeople, entrepreneurs, civilians, so to speak, right? People just out there working, just trying to make a living and live a good life for themselves and their family, those they love, right? Mm-hmm. You need to really examine if you have the belief that, and it comes in the end, it comes down to beliefs that sales or persuasion is evil or manipulative or it's not something I need to learn. I would urge you to really reconsider that. Not because you want to go out there and sell people, so to speak, but every idea you have, every concept that you have, it has a certain value in terms of what it's worth. Is it right? Is it wrong? What's it worth, right? Well, you might have the best idea in the world. You might have the most value to give to someone else as an employee, as a person's friend, as a lover, even to find a life partner, right? Whatever that might mean to you, okay? Your idea, your value, your personal value, the value of your product is either enhanced or diminished by your own ability to explain that to someone else. So I feel really, really bad for the people who are moving through life right now that don't have an internal communication platform that allows them to express themselves, to talk about their ideas, to get their point across to other human beings in a way that connects with them, that doesn't piss them off or bore them or make them think you're an asshole. If you lack that skill, Just think about how crazy it is to move through life and have great ideas that are being diminished because you don't know how to explain them to people. That's, to me, at the highest level, what this book is about. It's a communication strategy that allows you to essentially get what you want in life. And without that, you end up essentially almost dying with your music on your lips, locked inside of you. The greatness that you have is locked away inside of you, and you can't unleash it because you can't explain it. That's it. Every great leader, whether it's a Nelson Mandela, right? He had great ideas, but his strength was in his ability to rally everyone around him, to communicate those ideas, to connect with people. Whether it was a Wozniak who had the incredible foresight with building computers, but it took Steve Jobs to communicate that and commercialize that. Whether it's a Warren Buffett, who's now the third richest man in the world today, right? Mm-hmm. Warren Buffett, when he first graduated from college, there's a great video on this. He says the first thing he did is he went out and he took a communication, a sales course. Back then it was Dale Carnegie back in the 50s. That was the gold standard back then. Today it's a straight line. But he did that because he knew, as great as he was at picking stocks and creating value, what would he be without the ability to explain to people? You know what he'd be today? The greatest money manager in Omaha, Nebraska, that nobody ever heard of. That's it. So you have your skills for your business, your life, what you're trying to do, and then you have the ability to explain that to other people, to get them to want to buy into your idea, your vision with time and money. That's what success is about, business and personal. You could be the greatest partner to your life, your husband, your wife, your significant other. You could be a person that truly could make someone else happy. It has so much value in life as a partner, right? You're trustworthy, you're honest, you're sincere, you're compassionate, okay? You're great in bed. You have all these great qualities, right? But you are locked up. You can't explain it. To go through life like that, to me, is fucking insanity. So it's an easily learnable skill. The straight line will show it to you. ABC, it's worth it. You deserve to have the life you want. And you deserve to have a life full of riches and beauty. I think we were created to have abundance, not lack. So that's why I think it's an important book, and why I think the skill set you learn from it will change your life no matter what.
Got it. So that's Mr. Belfort. He said some great things there about, the art of persuasion, how it's just not about selling a product. A lot of times about selling yourself. Whereas becoming an employee, as an entrepreneur, you have to rally up a group. And that's something that he did great in the movie, where he rallied up these people to get behind him and things like that. So I'm glad for the Wolf to stop by. And so I got Mr. Belfort, if people want to catch you live, how can they catch you live? How could they follow you? How could they maybe get in contact with you, or whatever the case may be?
Go to my website.
Go to your website, JordanBelfort.com. Say again?
JordanBelfort.com. Mm-hmm. And I have a world tour going on right now. I'm going to be all over the place. And I'd love to come to Hawaii as well. I got to figure that out. I got to find someone in Hawaii who knows how to promote events. But bottom line, I'd love to do that. Go to my website. You'll see all my stuff that's coming out. And, if you're like most people, you'll have a great time and you'll learn a lot at one of my events.
Cool. So that's Mr. Jordan Belfort. If you want to catch him live, go to JordanBelfort.com. If you want one of his books sent to you free on the show, comment with the word Wolf, send me your address to wherever you're at in the world, and we'll make sure you get your copy. Guys, as always, this is the Prince of Investing. My name is Prince Dykes. Thank you guys for tuning in each and every Tuesday. Thank you guys for all the tremendous support. Until the next podcast, video, cartoon, book, or whatever you see me do crazy around the globe and the world, peace, be safe. I'm out. Thank you.